It's gonna be a longer question.
Okay.
Right? Is how are you doing 500,000 a month? So I said that I wanted to leave this up to these guys. So what are the major 2 or 3 things that you're doing that's effective to help you get to 500,000 a month? Because most people don't make that in a matter of years.
Yeah. Well, that's top line too. We're not netting $500,000 a month. The key really for us, Montgomery this year is not necessarily growing much more than it did last year. We have a little bit of growth, but Lexington's taken off a lot. We're implementing the same structure and systems and processes that we had in Montgomery and Lexington, and they're kind of competing every month. So, this last month was kind of a rough month for Montgomery. I think they did like 155,000. Kentucky went off and did 350, and the month before it was 275 in Montgomery and like 175 in Kentucky. So they kind of trade places. It's been nice so far. There's not been one where they're both down. It's either one's down, one's up. But really having that second market has been a big reason we've been able to achieve the 500,000 a month. I think another big thing is, we follow the EOS and traction, and the beginning of this year, we had a big annual meeting and we laid out what our goals were going to be. And our goals for this year is $6 million in revenue, 400 deals. And we laid out exactly how that what we needed to do to make that happen. And one of the key things was to get the Lexington office up to the same scale and structure as Montgomery. So that was what our core quarterly rocks for Q1 were tied to. And we made that happen. And now we're seeing those results Q2 and Q3 with the Kentucky office really starting to perform. So really just having proper planning, that's another thing where we realized at the beginning of the year, if we want to achieve the 400 deals a year and $6 million in revenue, we're going to be at 35 employees by the end of the year. We had 12 full-time employees January 1st. I was like, I'm not hiring that many people. I'm horrible at hiring. I hate doing it. So we realized we need to hire someone who full-time hires and recruits people. And so just planning that out, knowing where you want to be at the end of the year and planning that out on a quarterly basis has been the key to us being able to achieve the 500,000 a month.
Okay. So I'm hearing the sitting back planning and then executing that plan.
Yep, exactly.
All right. So that's one thing. The other thing we talked about earlier was, advertising on TV and direct mail is a big piece of your success.
Yeah.
So you're on TV in Lexington and Montgomery?
Both markets, yes. So both markets, we pretty much do all the marketing you can do. We have 2 full-time texters. We have 10 full-time cold callers. We're doing TV with Darren in both markets. We're sending a lot of direct mail in both markets. Our overarching marketing budget's about $95,000 to $100,000 a month total between the 2 markets. So that's a big reason why we're getting to 500. If you're not spending the marketing dollars, it's hard to get to those high revenue numbers.
Sure, that makes total sense. Is there anything else? Because that's 2 things, right? So marketing and then the planning and executing. What's the third thing that you would say was instrumental to getting to 500,000 a month?
I think the last big thing is just being a lot better about training and onboarding. Before it was kind of someone would come on and it would be like, all right, your acquisitions. So this is our other acquisitions guys. You're just going to shadow him all day, every day. And hopefully you'll pick it up, eventually. We'll just start throwing you your own appointments here in a few weeks. But now we've got a whole build out system where we're from day one, getting them plugged into our, we use Trainual, it's a software platform to get people onboarded and trained. And we've got, their first 30 days mapped out of, hey, you're listening to Steve Trang's, all of his modules. You're taking the Chris Voss masterclass. You're going through our internal training on running comps, running ARV, and we even have an exam that they take at the end of those 30 days. And they're not allowed to go on appointments on their own until they pass that exam. This is just for the acquisitions. So building out training a lot better so that those acquisition reps can come online and start performing a lot quicker.
Yeah, onboarding is so key. I still remember, and it's embarrassing because there are times that we don't onboard very well, right? It still happens from time to time. Not as bad as it used to be. But I still remember my very first day at Intel.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like they're paying me like a real salary, right?
Yeah.
And I show up and I'm like, yeah, I don't know where your boss is at. Right? Just sit in the queue.
Really?
We'll figure this out later on.
Have that figured out better?
No.
Oh my goodness.
All
Okay,
right.
well, it's not just us. The big companies too.
No, the big companies have similar challenges as well. So it's so key, right? Because it's also the first impression of your company for anyone that joins your organization.
Oh, it's huge, and we do a lot with that now. After we, again going back to CG, but hearing Rin's presentation a few quarters ago, we're talking about what they do. So do the same thing. We send you if you're joining our company, you get a survey before you start. We found out all of your favorite snacks and drinks and everything. And when you start day one, you have swag everywhere, your favorite snacks, your favorite drink. We're taking you out to your favorite restaurant. The whole company is for lunch on that very first day to know everyone. We want that impression to be amazing, and we want to make sure that you're immediately embedded into the team and the training right away.
Indoctrination begins from day one.
Exactly.